This article on the Jehovah's Witness website asks a provocative question. Is religion just another big business? Now, at first glance, the article seems like a noble critique of religious profiteering, a denunciation of wealth accumulated in the name of God. It even claims to represent the moral high ground, citing biblical condemnations of financial exploitation within religious circles. But beneath the surface lies a much more self-serving motive. The article, not just a critique of commercial religion, it is a thinly veiled attempt to contrast false religion with Jehovah's Witnesses, positioning the latter as a pure, selfless faith immune to the corruption of money. This, of course, is a myth because this seemingly righteous piece is a masterclass in religious projection and institutional hypocrisy. The Jehovah's Witness article opens with several scandalous examples of commercialized religion. A Catholic bishop with private jet travel and $4 million in home renovations, an African preacher selling miracle oil while his followers remain poor, Buddhist temples in China turning into corporate franchises, and spiritual consultants in the US peddling rituals to corporations. Now, each of these examples is intended to disgust the reader, priming them to view all religions except Jehovah's Witnesses as profiteers. But this rhetorical strategy, while emotionally effective, is logically weak. It commits the classic fallacy of the straw man, distorting or cherry-picking examples of religion to attack while conveniently ignoring broader context. So let's unpack this. Number one, there's this guilt by association. The article lumps together Catholic bishops, charismatic prosperity preachers, Buddhist monks, and corporate wellness consultants. And these figures and systems have vastly different theological foundations, organizational structures, and cultural roles. But to the Watchtower, they are simply pawns in a larger narrative of false religion. There is no meaningful distinction between Eastern tradition, colonial-era Christian corruption, or modern spiritual entrepreneurship. All are crammed into the same category of Babylon the Great. Then number two, convenient targets and strategic silence. Notably absent from the critique is any mention of Jehovah's Witnesses' own real estate empire, secretive financial dealings, or legal strategy. Why? Because the goal isn't truth, it's brand protection. The Watchtower knows that outrage sells, and by pointing fingers outward, it distracts from the questions members should be asking internally. Now let's examine how the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society operates financially and how this contradicts the sanctimonious tone of their article. In recent years, the Watchtower has sold hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate, especially in Brooklyn, New York. Some of these sales include Columbia Heights, sold for $340 million, J Street, sold for $135 million, and Columbia Heights, sold for $58 million. Now, these were not small-time church bake sale fundraisers. These were mega deals facilitated by lawyers and corporate consultants. Ironically, many of these properties were built and maintained by unpaid volunteer labor, free workers donating time, skills, and resources under the impression that they were serving God, not enriching a real estate portfolio. So much for not mixing religion with business. And the Watchtower benefits from massive tax exemptions globally, but particularly in the United States. In return, it provides no financial transparency to its members. Unlike many churches or charities that disclose budgets, the governing body is accountable to no one but itself. And worse, in recent years, Jehovah's Witnesses have been embroiled in numerous court cases regarding their failure to report child sexual abuse, the non-cooperation with government investigations, and the use of theocratic warfare doctrine to justify withholding truth in legal matters. And none of this reflects the humility and purity claimed in their critique of other religions. Instead, it reveals a rigid corporate bureaucracy protecting assets and reputation at all costs. Though the Watchtower does not sell spiritual products in the traditional sense, the claim that Jehovah's Witnesses are free from commercialization is misleading. Voluntary donations are constantly encouraged. Witnesses are told from the platform that giving is a privilege. Kingdom halls and assembly halls often feature donation boxes prominently. JW.org materials regularly include subtle nudges about funding the global work, and congregations are required to send monthly financial reports and often encouraged to increase donations to support Jehovah's organization. And unlike prosperity gospel preachers who openly ask for money, the Watchtower spiritualizes its financial messaging. The guilt is internalized. If you don't give, you're not showing faith. This is religious monetization in its most manipulative form. And the article argues that Jesus lived simply, never profited from his ministry, and condemned financial exploitation in worship. And these points are accurate, but they invite a dangerous comparison. Does the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses actually follow Jesus' model? Governing body members live rent-free in luxurious accommodations in Warwick, New York. On a lake, complete with private chefs and drivers, they travel globally, are protected by legal teams, and are surrounded by layers of privilege that far exceed the living conditions of the average witness family. And contrast this with the simplicity of the biblical Jesus, who had no place to lay his head. The governing body's lifestyle may not include limos and jets, but it certainly includes power, security, and comfort funded by the faithful. Publications are free, but they're funded by an aggressive donation model. Events like regional conventions are free, but local congregations are sent letters asking for thousands of dollars to support the event. Even field service is built on a donation-based distribution system. Members use their own time and money to deliver Watchtower materials to the public and are then expected to donate to support printing, transport, and expansion. In short, nothing is free. It is merely outsourced to volunteers. And then the Watchtower article claims that false religion forms alliances with governments and seeks financial gain or influence. Yet Jehovah's Witnesses themselves are not above legal partnerships, government lobbying, and PR campaigns when it benefits them. The Watchtower aggressively pursues legal rights to preach, assemble, and avoid military service. In countries like Russia, it lobbies international bodies to protect its operations. Yet when it comes to defending freedom of speech or the rights of other groups, silence. And this is not about principle, it's about organizational survival. They want protection, not liberty for all. The organization employs public relations strategies and law firms globally to manage its reputation, especially regarding abuse scandals. Legal letters, data deletion policies, and elders' manuals have all revealed a pattern. Protect the institution first, truth and transparency second. And this is the very harlot of Babylon behavior they claim to denounce, trading righteousness for influence. And a key difference between many religions and Jehovah's Witnesses is community outreach. Catholic churches, mosques, and so forth, even Buddhist temples often operate soup kitchens, shelters, and health programs. Jehovah's Witnesses, on the other hand, are known for only one form of outreach, door-to-door preaching. There are no hospitals, no schools, no disaster relief, unless it directly benefits their members. Even in emergencies, their humanitarian aid is reserved for baptized witnesses. And this reveals the real priority: expansion, not compassion. Their so-called pure worship has little to do with alleviating suffering and everything to do with organizational growth. So what's the true purpose of the article? Is religion just another big business? It's not an honest analysis of religion and money. It's a psychological control tactic aimed at reinforcing the idea that all other religions are corrupt, suggesting that the Watchtower is uniquely clean and holy, creating a false binary. If religion is bad and we are not like them, then we must be the truth. And this black and white thinking is central to Jehovah's Witness theology. Nuance is eliminated. Doubt is discouraged. Inquiry is a threat. And by condemning other religions for financial corruption, they inoculate members from asking similar questions about their own leadership. The article poses important questions, but fails to ask them of the Watchtower itself. It critiques the money changers in the temple while building its own financial empire in silence. Yes, religion can be corrupted by money, and yes, some leaders abuse their power for profit. But the solution isn't retreating into an authoritarian system that cloaks its financial activity in spiritual language. That's not purity, it's pretense. If Jehovah's Witnesses truly want to follow Jesus, they must be willing to ask the hard questions, not just of the world, but of their own organization. Why is there no financial transparency? Why is so much wealth tied up in real estate? And why is dissent punished and whistleblowers silenced? And why are legal tactics used to suppress truth? These aren't questions of rebellion, they are questions of conscience. And in the end, what matters is not how loudly you condemn others, but how honestly you examine yourself.